Every single time you download a file on your Windows machine, something happens in the background that you were almost certainly never told about. Something quiet, something automatic, something that has been running since the day you first powered on that computer. Your antivirus, the one Microsoft gave you for free, the one sitting there in your taskbar with the shield icon that makes you feel safe, is watching that file. It is analyzing that file. And in many cases, it is taking that file or detailed information about that file and sending it somewhere, not to your hard drive, not to your desktop, but to Microsoft's servers right now in the background, without asking you first. That is not a theory. That is not speculation. That is Microsoft's own documented behavior, written in their own official documentation, available on their own websites. And yet, the vast majority of people who use Windows have never heard about it. They do not know it is happening. They have never been told about it in plain language, and they certainly have never been shown how to change it. To understand the privacy concern, you first need to understand what Microsoft Defender actually is and how it actually works behind the scenes. Most people think of Defender as a simple antivirus. It scans your files, it looks for malware, it blocks threats. That is the version Microsoft shows you in the Windows Security app. The clean interface, the green check marks, the reassuring message that your device is protected. But underneath that clean interface is a much more complex system, a system that has three major components that most people have never thought about. And each one of those components is sending data to Microsoft in its own way. The first component is the local antivirus engine itself. This is what most people picture when they think of antivirus software. It runs on your PC. It uses definition files that update regularly. It scans files and processes for patterns that match known malware. This part is genuinely local. It does not inherently require sending your files to Microsoft. It works from a database of known threats that gets downloaded to your PC. For files that match known threats, the local engine handles everything on device. This is the part that is completely fine from a privacy perspective, and it is also the part that gets all the credit in Microsoft's marketing. The second component is called Cloud-Delivered Protection, also sometimes called Cloud Protection or Real-Time Cloud Protection. This is where things start to get interesting. When your PC encounters a file that the local engine cannot classify, a new file, an unknown file, a file that has never been seen on that PC before, Defender does not just shrug and let it through. Instead, it connects to Microsoft servers. It sends information about that file to Microsoft's Cloud Protection Service. And the cloud service makes the call on whether that file is safe or dangerous. This happens in milliseconds. From your perspective, you just tried to open a file and Defender either let it through or blocked it. What happened in between was a conversation between your PC and Microsoft servers that you never saw. The third component is called Automatic Sample Submission. And this is the one that surprises people the most when they learn about it. When Cloud Protection cannot determine whether a file is safe or malicious just from its metadata alone, it asks your PC to send the actual file, not just information about the file, but the file itself. Microsoft servers receive a copy of that file and analyze it there in Microsoft's cloud infrastructure using more powerful analysis tools than what can run locally on your machine. Once they determine whether it is malicious or safe, that verdict comes back to Defender, and Defender acts accordingly. Let us slow down on that for a moment because this is the thing that most people, when they hear it for the first time, immediately need a minute to process. Your antivirus is uploading your files to Microsoft by default, without a prominent notification, without a consent dialog during setup that clearly explains we will upload files from your computer to our servers. It is documented, yes. Microsoft has written about this on their technical documentation pages, but it is buried. It is not what you see when you open Windows Security. It is not what you are told when you set up Windows. The default behavior of Microsoft Defender is to upload files from your PC to Microsoft's cloud for analysis. That is what is happening on your machine right now. Microsoft's documentation draws a distinction between what they call safe samples and other files. Safe samples, as they define them, are files that are considered not commonly to contain personal data. Specifically, they list executable files like .bat, .com, .dll, and .exe. These are the file types that Defender will upload automatically without asking you when Cloud Protection needs a sample for analysis. For files that might contain personal information, Microsoft gives the example of documents and spreadsheets. Defender is supposed to prompt you before uploading. It is supposed to ask your permission before it sends your Word document or your Excel spreadsheet to Microsoft servers. That sounds reassuring until you dig into what actually happens in practice and into what safe samples actually means, because executable files are not empty containers. They are not blank files. Executable files can contain configuration data, serialized data, and other embedded content. Developers know this well, which is one of the reasons that software developers consistently show up in forums expressing concern about automatic sample submission. If you write your own software, your own custom tools, your own proprietary code, That code compiles into an executable. That executable, when it is new and unknown to Microsoft's cloud service, qualifies as a candidate for sample submission. Your proprietary, confidential, custom executable code could be uploaded to Microsoft servers. Before Cloud Protection asks for a sample, it first sends metadata about the file. Microsoft's own documentation lists examples of this metadata. It includes the file name, it includes the file size, the digital signature of the file path, meaning the full path on your computer including folder names, the URL you downloaded the file from, and behavioral information about what the file does when it starts to execute. Let us stop on a few of those. File name, that could reveal sensitive information depending on what the file is named. File path, that could reveal folder structure that contains information about what you are working on. URL downloaded from, that reveals your browsing activity, specifically what websites you downloaded files from. These pieces of metadata are being sent to Microsoft's cloud service every time Defender encounters a file it cannot immediately classify, even before any sample is uploaded. There is also another major data sending mechanism inside Microsoft Defender. It is called Smart Screen. Smart Screen is a feature that has been in Windows since Windows 8, and it works differently from the sample submission system but raises its own distinct privacy concerns. Every time you download a file from the internet and try to run it, Smart Screen checks that file against Microsoft's reputation database. Every time you try to visit a website, Smart Screen checks that URL against Microsoft's list of known malicious sites. The mechanism for how it does this check is what matters for privacy. Research by security professionals and reported by Bleeping Computer showed that when Smart Screen checks an executable file, it sends a significant amount of information to Microsoft servers. The test showed that this information includes the full file path of the file on your computer, meaning exactly where that file lives on your hard drive, including all folder names in the path. It includes the URL that the file was downloaded from, and it includes other details about the file being checked. Think about what the URL download information means in practice. Every time you download a file and try to run it, Smart Screen sends the URL of the site you downloaded it from to Microsoft. Your download history, or at least the download sources for any file you try to execute, is being logged through Smart Screen and sent to Microsoft servers. This is not speculation. It was demonstrated with actual network traffic analysis by researchers. Here is exactly how to take control. Open the Windows Security app from your Start menu. Once it is open, click on Virus and Threat Protection. Then click Manage Settings under the Virus and Threat Protection Settings section. Scroll down and you will find Automatic Sample Submission. By default, this toggle is on. Toggle this setting off. When you turn off Automatic Sample Submission, Windows will show you a warning message saying your device may be vulnerable. This warning is real in the sense that it describes a genuine change to how Defender works. It will no longer be able to upload files for cloud analysis. But the warning is also written in a way designed to make you feel like you have done something dangerous. You have not done something dangerous. You have turned off a feature that was sending files from your computer to Microsoft servers without prominently notifying you. Turning off automatic sample submission does not disable your antivirus. It does not turn off real-time protection. It does not stop Defender from detecting known malware. It does not even turn off cloud protection for the metadata-based analysis that does not require file uploads. It specifically removes the mechanism by which your actual files get sent to Microsoft servers. Your local antivirus protection remains fully functional. There is a second setting on the same page. Above automatic sample submission, you will see cloud-delivered protection. This toggle controls whether Defender uses Microsoft's cloud service for real-time analysis at all. If you turn this off, Defender operates entirely locally using only local definition files. As discussed, this reduces your protection against zero-day and targeted threats. For most users, people running mainstream software, browsing mainstream websites, not handling particularly sensitive data, keeping cloud-delivered protection on, but turning off automatic sample submission is a reasonable, balanced approach. You keep the cloud-based threat intelligence for detecting emerging threats, but you stop actual file uploads. For users handling particularly sensitive data, lawyers, journalists, activists, business owners with proprietary software, healthcare workers, financial professionals, turning off automatic sample submission is strongly advisable, and you may want to consider turning off cloud-delivered protection as well. Now let us talk about Smart Screen because addressing it is separate from the Defender settings you just changed. Still in Windows Security, click on App and Browser Control. You will see a section called Reputation-Based Protection. Click on Reputation-Based Protection Settings. You will see several toggles here. The first one is Check Apps and Files. This is the Smart Screen setting that runs when you try to execute a downloaded file and sends file path and URL information to Microsoft. The issue is not that Microsoft is malicious. The issue is disclosure. The issue is that a product used by billions of people implements data transmission that affects those people's privacy, and the implementation of that data transmission has consistently prioritized security outcomes and cloud intelligence goals over user awareness and informed consent. A feature that sends your files to a company's servers should be something you actively choose with clear understanding of what you are choosing, not something that runs by default, while the user experience buries the explanation in documentation that nobody reads. Your device, your files, your data, your decision.